This is episode 270 of the Books, Shows, Tunes, and Mad Acts podcast. This episode is titled The Magic of Debi Derryberry. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Books, Shows, Tunes, and Mad Acts. I'm your host, Jennifer Crittenden. Books, Shows, Tunes, and Mad Acts is brought to you by Discreet Guide, the training company for improving your speaking and writing skills. Thank you for joining us, and tune in on Mondays for new episodes. I am so pleased to welcome a new guest to the show today. I've got Debi Derryberry with us. So welcome to the show, Debi.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for having me on Books, Shows, Tunes, and Mad Acts.
Yeah, you'll fit in tunes and shows and books and Mad Acts. I'm so pleased to have this really famous voice on my show. So I'll introduce you so that people know who you are. I've got a short bio for you, but I'm sure we'll delve into some of the other things in your longer bio too. But to start with this, with a career that spans 30 years and includes nearly 400 IMDb credits, Debi Derryberry is one of Hollywood's most active and sought-after voiceover artists, best known for voicing Jimmy Neutron in the Academy Award-nominated film Jimmy Neutron, who's here also in the studio with us. Jimmy Neutron, boy genius. Debi's fans have rocketed her TikTok page to more than 26.2 million likes and 1.2 million followers, which is truly amazing. That's really astonishing. As if that's not enough, Debi is also a lifelong musician and award-winning singer-songwriter who recently released her fourth children's album, Gotta Go Green. And we're going to get a chance to talk about that a little bit. Yes, truly astonishing following that you have on social media, which, just speaks to how active you are, how visible you are, how hardworking you are. As I researched you today, I could see you're just really busy, active, energetic everywhere. And, you've got this wonderful spirit that people are really drawn to. So congratulations for a terrific career and all the things you're involved with.
Thank you. Yeah, it keeps me really busy. I work all the way till bedtime.
Right. And then into bed. Exactly. Rest up for the next day.
Yeah.
Let's talk about early years first. So you grew up in Indio, California.
Yeah.
It was such an interesting place to grow up, not the usual town that we hear. And there were just a few sort of factoids that I thought was interesting. I saw somebody, or maybe perhaps you, referred to your voice as being a little voice. Was that a characteristic that you had as a young person?
Yes, pretty much all my life I had, this is my normal voice. This is where it wants to be.
Really?
So, yeah. So this is pretty much where my voice has always been.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's easy and comfortable, and that's where it wants to come out. So, yeah, it's been a little voice, and it makes it easier to do children's voices.
Right.
But that comes in combination with the acting training. I mean, a lot of people have these little voices, and then they try to sound like a kid, and it just sounds like a woman trying to talk like a kid, but didn't work. But, yeah, I never really took umbrage with it. It's sort of that's the way it was. I have 5 fingers. I sound like this. We're going to go with it.
Uh-huh. Right. Yeah. Take what you get. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I grew up in little bitty Indio, which is near Palm Springs, also near our rival high school is Coachella. So that's where that Coachella festival is. So that general area. And, when I grew up, it was this teeny tiny nothing town. It's still kind of a teeny tiny nothing town. It's in the middle of the desert. It's usually the hottest spot in the entire nation. But it was nice being a big fish in a little fishbowl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and near enough, to LA and Hollywood to get a sense of all that, but not really be yet intimidated by it.
I never visited LA, and I didn't know anything about the business or Hollywood. I had no connection at all with that. Nope, I just played my guitar, did gymnastics, did drama, just worked hard and did my fun things in Indio. no connection with the music business or entertainment business whatsoever.
Right. So no interested in performing as a young
Oh,
person?
always interested in performing.
Okay.
Performing in community theater, in
Okay.
playing my guitar for people, singing songs, gymnastics, performing in the meets. Anytime I could perform, mostly I like people clapping for me.
That's what it is. All right.
As long as I can get people clapping for me, I'm like, yay! I don't know if you can
Uh-huh.
see my vest. I have an electric vest keeping me warm, and I feel like Spock. I can change
Oh, that's
colors,
cool.
make it hot, warm, less warm. Yeah. So if you see my little, beam me up. It keeps me
So
warm.
it's a temperature setting, the little poppy thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's this
that's cool.
electric vest with coils like an electric blanket. It's got a little battery inside. Oh, love it.
Do you tend to get cold?
I do, but the studios, now that we're back in studio recording, they're freezing. So I
Oh,
wear my UGG boots. I don't know if you can see. I've got my UGG boots on and my vest, and yeah, it keeps my core temperature up. But as long as we have some hot beverage and the UGG boots and a heated vest, I'm okay.
yes, I have to tell my podcast listeners that yes, Debbie looks super cozy in all her gear, which, I can imagine the temperature of a studio would affect the quality of your voice. So, yeah, I can imagine these are actually pretty. This isn't just for comfort, this is for performance also.
Yeah, well, you want to keep your body warm, your throat warm. If you end up getting a chill and your nose is going to run and you'll be miserable. So, but I do run cold and studios run cold as well. So we learn
Mhm.
how to adapt, but it's fleece, so it's not noisy. A lot of the
Right?
down coats are made in that
Mhm.
nylon stuff, which is you can't work in that. Gets very noisy.
Uh-huh.
So
All these
yeah,
insider tips. Yeah, that's really great.
yeah, I never wear anything more than studs for the ears because you don't want them being smashed with the headphones or,
Mhm.
dangling. Uh,
Clanging,
no
making noise.
bracelets.
Right.
Got my quiet VO outfit on today.
That's really
And
cool.
I don't know if you saw me. I have my shirt today. I don't know if it's backwards. Can you see
Stop
that?
staring at my voice. You're just entertaining all around.
I don't know about that.
So I saw a reference in an article about you growing up in which they referred to you as having a secret language. Tell me
Oh,
about
yeah.
that.
We used to watch this show called Zoom. Box 350, Boston, Mass. 02134. Anyway, I think on there they spoke ubby dubby or ishkabibble, where you put a isha between each syllable, like, or abba, myba, nabema, ibiz, debebabi, debera, baberi. So we put a ubba in between each
Oh,
syllable. It's like Pig Latin, sort of like a
sort of, yeah.
like one of those. I don't know. We got pretty good at talking, and it was ridiculous.
So
What are
you've,
you gonna do in Indio?
I guess, but so it sounds like you've always been kind of, what's the right word? Sort of verbally astute or easy to verbalize things or words come
Um,
naturally to you. I don't know.
oh, I
Throwing
don't
out
know.
things.
I think my retrieval skills have waned over the
Mm,
years,
mm,
and but I'll get there eventually. But I've always written songs and paid a lot of attention to lyrics and
mm.
to lyricists that I find amazing and use them as learning tools. So I really focus on that when I'm writing songs, and performing and singing has always like been my first love.
Uh-huh.
Love that so much. Things have segued and changed a little bit, and now that I'm doing, I mean, I've always done grown up music, and then like 18 years ago, I started with kids' music, and I've always done animation. So now with my new album, I'm doing these music videos that are
Mm.
animated. So I'm finally combining my animation and my music into something that feels really great, right up my alley.
Oh,
Well, it's
nice.
all up my alley. I love it all.
Uh-huh. But yeah, you're hitting some sweet spots. Well, that's what's fun to about researching you is that although on the surface, because we tend to classify people and put them in boxes, yeah, so you have a lot of different labels, right, that have been attached to you, but in a way, it's all of a piece, right? It's all,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I can say, oh, they're pigeonholing me, but it's me.
Hmm.
And I do what I do. And I think it's just the people that you meet that allow you these opportunities. And anytime I have an opportunity, I just jump to it if it sounds like
Hmm.
something I'd want to do. But yeah, I guess I didn't even think that I do a lot of stuff, but I guess I do a lot of stuff.
Hmm. But I think you're right, that you've followed where paths have led you. And so you've just gotten involved in a lot of different things. So leaving Indio, you went to Nashville. And
I
so,
did.
yeah, tell me about that.
Well, I from India, I jumped over to UCLA and graduated there as a pre-med. And instead of go to med school, didn't want to go to med school. I was, playing, busking down in with my guitar down in Westwood every weekend and writing songs. And after college, I was singing in a little country band. I was like, I need to move to Nashville, so I did to be a country singer. I was Debbie Greenberg, and I changed it to Debbie Green just so I'd be a little more generic. And the only thing I got an agent, and I do like commercials as an elf and
Okay.
standing in for little boys on movie sets. I ended up doing jingles, but not as a grown-up voice, only as a kid's voice.
Yeah.
And I was in my mid-20s, and so one of the people I met on one of the sets said I should do cartoon voices, and I didn't even know what that was. But
Uh-huh.
I knew I've been a singer. I've done commercials and jingles and theater. So they gave me some names, and long story short, I wrote letters to them. They said good demo. I sent them my cassette and
Uh-huh.
said
Back
I needed
then.
to live in Los Angeles. So I left Nashville and moved back home to LA. Signed with a voice agent,
Hmm.
which again I didn't know even that there was such a thing.
Right.
And back in those days, before cell phones, they'd call you into the agency to do your auditions.
Uh-huh.
So I started booking things after, I don't know, week or two. And
Right.
then that was 30 years ago. It's
Hmm.
just been kind of constant since then. So it's been voiceover, voiceover, and many things have happened between then and now. But I
Hmm.
still love it. I'm still doing it.
Yeah, and as I say, congratulations, steady work all the time. And, you
Yeah.
just have an amazing long history of credits. And, it's great. It's such a demonstration of what's possible for someone with your natural talents, but also with the kind of get up and go that you've demonstrated. So, yeah, I just think your story is wonderful.
Thank you. Nashville was super fun, and I, waited tables like all actors are required to do by law.
Yep.
And I met, I did this stand-in work for Jim Varney, who was like, I don't know if you've ever remember the Ernest, hey Vern, it's Ernest, or he was in the
Sounds
Flintstones
familiar.
movie.
Okay.
Anyway, they put me in, they saw me do a show, To Kill a Mockingbird at Tennessee Repertory Theater, and I was playing the 12-year-old scout when I was, 27. And
Oh,
so they saw me in that and put me in a TV series called Hey Vern, it's Ernest, as a boy in a clown outfit, like a
okay.
boy clown.
Okay.
And all of a sudden I'm in the Screen Actors Guild, and
Aha.
my paycheck came, and I'm like, I can quit waiting tables now.
Gotcha.
So
Hmm.
that was a momentous item in
Sure.
my life, change a new chapter, and then I could move back to LA, and I was a full-on member of the Screen Actors Guild, and that
Right.
was very cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I realized that you'd done stage acting also amongst all the other things that you've done. But Scout, that must have been an interesting character to play.
I've always played a kid, and I played that role in high school as well. So
Okay.
didn't feel like a stretch. I even, as I think maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I still did an on-camera role as a little boy in a mocap video game. It's like you can't see me, but I'm 4'10". I'm the same size as a 12-year-old boy.
Hmm.
Everything is. And I, even did the movie Free Willy with the whale.
Uh-huh.
I was the body stunt double. I'm the one
Yeah,
who
I
rode the whale.
remember seeing that. Okay, so that you have to explain. I saw that in Wikipedia. I'm like, what? Wait, what? So
Somebody
you didn't
told me,
actually speak in that role. You were just
no,
the stand. You were the
I
stand. But what did they make you do? I mean, did your gymnastics come back into
no.
play here?
Well, it did for riding the whale. It felt like the balance beam, but
Yeah.
they had the real whale and they had the animatronic whale.
Okay.
Well, Warner Brothers is not going to put a 12-year-old boy on a killer whale,
Okay.
nor are they going to put him in the water and let him sink to the bottom and let a whale rescue him. I mean, that takes a lot of training. So they looked for a scuba diver, and I've been diving since 1983. So
Oh.
they needed a scuba diver who was the size of a 12-year-old boy. And, those are pretty
Not a
particular
lot of them around.
parameters.
Yeah.
So that was a shoe-in to book that job.
That is
And
great.
I'm going to grab this little picture here so you can see me riding the whale.
Oh, wow. Yep, this is the real deal. I could tell you that. My audience, yep, she's truly writing. Now that is the
That's the killer whale. That's
oh, it
Keiko.
was. Oh,
Yeah, he's
okay.
passed away now, but he did finally get released from captivity. They sent him up to Iceland where he finished his life.
Oh, how
But
neat.
that was a
What did it
fun
feel
job.
like to ride a whale?
It felt like a wet tire, like a wet
Okay.
car tire. And
Kind of rubbery.
that's exactly right. And when I stood on him, it's a balancing thing where you bend your
Yeah.
knees. This is skiing. Uh,
Uh-huh.
but most of my time was spent either on the deck of the pool or on what they call a hookah line, where it's this tube of air that instead of wearing a
Mm.
tank, the tank's on
Mm-hmm.
deck and you just breathe, 18 feet down in the water. You just stay down there and breathe. And hi, whale, I'm your prop. Come pick me up. Say
What a
hi.
fantastic story.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
a cool
You've done
job.
such, yeah, you've done such great things. So you're best known as Jimmy Neutron,
Yes.
boy genius. And I wanted to ask you how you feel about that character, like what you brought to playing him, or just any aspects about that you feel has made him so popular and so enduring. And obviously, your social media following is so excited about that. So, do you have any theories about what makes him so great?
Well, in a show, it's a collaboration of efforts, obviously, and it just happened to be one of those shows where the writing
Hmm.
and the casting and the camaraderie all just somehow magically melded. And I pretty much was a straight man. I mean, I didn't make it. I auditioned and used my little boy voice, which has no texture to it. It's not like I'm Bart Simpson where it has that little texture. Well, I can't
Gotcha.
do that for very long. My little
Uh-huh.
boy's voice is clearer. There's
Right.
no texture to it. So they cast me as it, and I'm surrounded by these hilarious, brilliant people. Mark DiCarlo, Megan Kavanaugh, Rob Paulson, Jeff Garcia, Carolyn Laura, just so many funny, great actors. And we're all voice actors, but we were all in the studio together. And the director just kind of let us go. So yeah, there's a script, and I followed it, but I would say most of the actors danced around it.
Uh-huh.
And there's something about that chemistry
Mm-hmm.
that showed in the
Mm-hmm.
episodes. And what I brought to it, I thought I was grateful for finally being able to tell my dad that my pre-med hard chemistry training in college paid off because I knew what those big words were that he said, those chemical
Oh,
compounds.
right.
I knew what they were, I knew how to say them, and, although I had to practice them quite a bit. That was super fun for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't claim to be the reason for its success, but for some reason, it was a well done show. It was a
Mm-hmm.
safe show. It was a smart show. It
Mm-hmm.
was a show that parents would be happy to have their children watch and to watch with their children.
Uh-huh.
It was one of those shows that was so well written that an adult would hear certain things on it that a
Mm-hmm.
child wouldn't, and vice versa, and that made it entertaining as well. So a lot of things combined, and I was just glad to be a part of it. I'm the voice of Jimmy, but the world of Jimmy was much bigger than that.
And continues. As I was learning more about you everywhere, I was saying, revive Jimmy Neutron.
Wouldn't that be
People very,
great? I
people
I
very
did just
passionate.
find out there's these things. I don't know if you've heard of something called Funko Pop figures. They're these little
Oh, I
square
think I saw you
box.
put it on Twitter.
Yes, I did. Or
I saw that.
TikTok.
Or, oh,
TikTok.
was
That's
it
what I put it.
TikTok?
I
Okay,
think so.
okay.
But
Uh-huh.
I've been waiting forever for them to have a Jimmy Neutron one, and
Uh-huh.
20 years. They finally released it. They're not out yet, but come June, I'm just getting a squirt of my homemade hand lotion. I've been making my own hand creams for 20 years
Nice.
now. Love it. So it's exciting that Jimmy Neutron is now a pop figure.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the show will come back. I always hope it'll come back. I mean, we're all still alive.
Right. Yeah, I think somebody mentioned that. Yeah, unlike other shows, yeah, everyone's still around. Well, there's clearly a lot of interest in it,
Yeah.
in it
Come
still.
on, Nickelodeon, bring us back.
We'll push for that. So this is going down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but Jim Jarmusch, the movie director, made a movie called Down by Law, and
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that movie very much. And there's a scene in that movie where a couple of guys are in prison together, and one of them realizes that the other guy was a late night jazz radio DJ.
Mhm.
And so he begins to say to him, "Come on, do it." The guy's like, "What?" And the first guy's like, do the voice, do the thing. And so he eventually goads him into putting on the late night jazz DJ voice, the um,
The
coming up
smooth.
on,
Yeah.
yes, exactly, coming up on the midnight hour. So I had to ask you, do you get tired of people asking you to do the voice?
No, I mean,
You're okay.
it can get exhausting after a time. Like I do a lot of conventions and people come up and want to talk to me and they'll say, do it, bark for your
Oh,
supper.
really?
And, I try to accommodate them as best I can because it elicits a sensory memory for them that
Hmm.
is a good place for them.
Hmm.
So being in voiceover is a very invisible acting profession. So nobody ever really stops me on the street or bothers me at
Gotcha.
dinner. So it's fabulous in that respect.
Right.
At conventions, it's a little different. And,
Hmm.
if they're going to have me sign an autograph and they want me to bark for my supper, I will.
You are pretty distinguishable though, because you're not very tall and
Yeah.
you're just sort of a remarkable personality. So yeah, I imagine that some people do recognize you for that.
Oh,
But you're
yeah.
right, voiceover artists, we tend not to know what they look like, right?
Yeah, it's pretty great. I mean, where I live here in Toluca Lake, which is Burbank-ish,
Okay.
I mean, we all kind of live here. So everybody
Okay.
gets used to seeing us around and they know what I do and you know,
Whatever.
it's whatever.
If you could give some advice to people who are working in the industry today and creating shows, thinking about Jimmy Neutron, what advice would you give to them?
Do you mean people who want to become writers or voice artists or actors or
I
what?
was thinking of creators, so people who might be in a position to make a show like Jimmy Neutron, because it seems as though that show was especially special. So I
Oh,
wonder, like, how come we don't have Jimmy Neutrons everywhere?
well, I think Jimmy Neutron in its own right of legacy stands alone
Yeah.
and he was, the first CGI cartoon out there and
Oh,
hopefully it
okay.
will come back. For people in the business who are creating and want to create something that would be on a network like this, well, that was 20 years ago
Mm,
and the market has changed.
okay.
And yes, people still write shows and pitch shows and hope a network will pick up a show, but it's very rare. I think in my 30 years and I probably pitched 20, 30 shows that I've been a part of creating or somebody else I climbed aboard, and they've all been rejected. Nothing has ever been accepted. I don't know.
Hmm.
I thought some of them were good shows, but
Uh-huh.
because that's what these people do, is hear pitches all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really tough. I don't know what the secret is. I wish I could tell somebody what the game plan was and the flow chart and what they need to do. But I think certainly taking advantage of any familial or nepotism connections, or anybody you know who somebody else knows, it's so important to get your foot in the door somewhere. And it's just hard work and persistence.
Mm-hmm.
I just had lunch with a couple writers today that we pitched a project. We pitched it at Nickelodeon and DreamWorks and Netflix and a couple other places. And it's a great project, but nobody took it.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't mean that it's not a good project. It's just all about the timing or... so I don't know what the answer is, honestly, but I think as long as you're doing what you love to do, that's what you should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether or not you're able to make a living at it, you know, you have some decisions to make, which is why all actors are required by law to wait tables or do some other way of making a living. And I think I've always tried to put on lots of hats to keep trying and keep figuring out what are the ways of producing income in this business? What are the ways of making a living, and where's the best place to focus your energies on? But always do what you love to do.
Well, otherwise you're guaranteed to be miserable, right?
Yep,
At least you have a chance of.
So that's my only advice, is to keep at it and keep learning and keep doing and keep meeting people. And so living in a place where you're not able to meet face to face with people is not to your best interests. I think the people who are most successful are here, in your face, available. But again, the whole industry is different now.
Now, when I was on your website and I was looking at your voice demos, you've kind of broken them into some interesting categories, or I might not have expected that. So you've got sort of a series that is related to animation, a series related to commercials, the video games, and then an audiobook where you read BFG, which is so great that you did that nice book. Oh, and then there's a whole string there where you do some baby laugh and baby chortles and baby noises. And I was wondering if, from a voice professional standpoint, if there's different techniques that you use for those different applications.
Yes. At a voice agency, there are agents for different genres of voiceover. There is commercial agents, promo agents, video game agents, dubbing agents, animation agents. And I know we'll probably get to this, but I did write this book. It has tabs in it. Voiceover 101, How to Succeed as a Voice Actor, 2nd edition. So I wrote this because
you didn't change. You're still a brunette on the cover of that one.
This time I'm a brunette. Yeah.
I did a double take when I saw that. I was like, oh.
It's like, I just, are you going to weave it this month? I don't know. So there's just so many different facets of voiceover, and I've worked in them all, and they all require different skill sets. And obviously I've been more successful in the animation realm, but I still have a body of work within each of those genres, and they all have a demo reel associated with them, and that is on my website, because that's the purpose of the website, is to show what I can do. If somebody needs to say, I have a promo, let me go to Debbie's website and see if she has a promo reel, or if she can do an audiobook. So yeah, you need to have your calling cards for each facet of voiceover, because your video game agent doesn't talk to the promo agent. It's a separate field.
Yeah, wow. Can you give me an example of different techniques that you use for those different venues?
Yeah, for animation, it's usually a large diaphragm condenser mic that you're going to be using at home for your auditions or in studio, as opposed to like a shotgun mic that you'd use for promo or commercial. Technique-wise, commercial is a little more steady and requires still acting, but it's not as character-y. They want more, I'd say 90% of the commercials out there want a conversational read, which is difficult when you get in front of a microphone. People put on what I call mic voice.
Uh-huh.
They get in front of the mic and all of a sudden their energy goes up and their pitch goes up and their speed goes up, as opposed to being able to get in front of the mic and just keep talking like we're now talking.
I see.
In animation, it's a little different. The energy is heightened. I mean, it
Mm.
depends what kind of animation. You know, if you're talking to Warner Brothers or Nickelodeon, it's usually a little wild, a little crazy, a little exaggerated. And then
Okay.
there's tricks to learn in front of the microphone. Like if this is my microphone and I'm screaming, I'm going to back up or I'm going to
Uh-huh.
turn. And also, we have this thing called an interface that takes this analog signal and turns it into a digital signal and compresses it a little bit so that your highs and lows won't overmodulate and you can keep it within the range of recordability. Acting wise, it's all an acting job.
Okay.
If you're a voice artist, you're an actor. So acting comes first. Yes, I make a living doing voice acting, but acting is the key word here.
Okay.
A lot
Gotcha.
of people want to just pop right into the voiceover and say, "Oh, I can sound funny. I'm just going to do voiceover." But then you put them in front of the mic and they don't have these acting skills and they haven't learned these certain skill sets within each. Like when I do, this morning I was dubbing an anime, which is like a Sailor Moon when it's in Japanese, and then you bring it in and you dub the English voice on top of it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So dubbing is a whole nother facet of voiceover, and that involves being able to do this very detailed dance with the engineer where you see the lip flaps and you look at the script and you got to learn that one line really quick and pop up, hear the beeps, and match those flaps and insert your acting in a constrained period of time. And those are the tools specific to anime dubbing. That's a
Mm-hmm.
bit different than video games, and that's a bit different than animation,
No
and certainly
kidding.
different than commercial or promo. And yeah, so I teach mostly animation, commercial, and video games. I don't teach dubbing, I don't teach promo or narration.
Wow. How did you learn all this, Debbie?
Just by by doing it.
By doing it. Wow. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
you're
I've taken classes over the years,
mm-hmm.
but back when I started, nobody was
Mm-hmm.
teaching it.
Mm-hmm.
And so people asked me, "Can you show me how?" And I started showing them how, and I thought, well, this is taking a lot of time. I better start charging for it.
Mm-hmm.
So now I coach privately, and sometimes I do classes, and I wrote this book, and I have a video series on my website. So if people don't want to read the book, they can watch the 3-part Zoomcast that's pre-recorded.
Yeah. Wow, what a wealth of knowledge, right, that you've gathered together
Thank
there,
you. Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah, my brain's full. Full up.
So switching gears on you a little bit, I teach English as a second language, but I also do some coaching for just people who want to improve their speaking, elevate their vocabulary, or do public speaking, that kind of thing. So I have a lot of people who come to me who want to change their accent because they're not native English speakers,
Mm.
but sometimes they just want to change their voice. Or I would say sometimes I have to prepare people a little bit for how they're going to sound on a recording. It's really interesting that so many of us have a negative reaction when we
Yeah.
hear ourselves on a recording. It just sounds different than what they expected it to sound like. So, do you have advice for people who are unhappy with the way that they sound?
Well, I think first and foremost, when we hear ourselves, we need to know going in that the way we sound through our ears isn't the way that other people hear us.
Yeah.
And so, most people, if they're new to this, will be like, "Oh, is that me? I can't stand it." Um,
I like that. Yeah.
you just,
Oh.
yeah, you have to just embrace it and
Yeah.
just know that that's the way you're going to sound. If you really need to change your voice, like some people get stuck in this chipmunk area or this helium area, and that's where I was stuck. And
Uh-huh.
then I took some voice lessons and learned how to strengthen the entire vocal cord so that I can go up here and talk, or I can lower it and actually be down in the more richer area. I don't think I can ever get to what you call gravitas, but I certainly have a bigger range now
Right.
than I did then. So it is possible to change your pitch,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as, changing your voice, I think you're going to sound like what you're going to sound like.
Sometimes I tell people that what they're hearing on the recording is not really how they sound either, just to make people feel a little better that, oh, maybe that, the equipment is distorting their voice
Well,
a
I
little.
think once they recognize the what the wavelengths do,
Hmm.
how they do sound different coming from different places, by the time it bounces around in our ear, it does sound totally different. Me, it always sounds like me, whether I'm talking or whether I hear myself on the recording, because over the years I've gotten used to it. But yeah, people
Yes,
get really shocked when they hear themselves.
right. Yeah. I'm so astonished that where your natural range is when you did that at the beginning
I
of our
know, isn't that
record.
weird?
Yeah, I'm so surprised. Yeah, I thought it
Hmm.
was the opposite, that your natural range would be lower and that
Oh,
you would just be capable of going up there. That's incredible.
but I've been speaking down here for so long that my work takes me through the range of
Yeah.
placements
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So it's
Mm-hmm.
always being exercised.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. You're staying in shape, so to speak. And
Yeah.
so was there ever a time when you didn't like your voice?
No,
No.
I've always liked it. Yeah. Yeah, I like my singing voice, my talking voice. Uh, no problems with it.
That's so great. Yeah, because people, they've just grown to love it. I wondered if you thought there were certain characteristics about your voice that particularly draw us. I don't know if it's the pitch, or I was thinking about the baby laugh, for example, right? How much we love hearing that. But I wondered if there were things that you've learned about your voice or the capabilities of your voice that you knew would be aesthetically pleasing to people, that would draw people in.
I do know that when I speak to children and
Yeah.
when I sing to children, they light up. It's like a magnet. My voice is like a magnet for little kids. They love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't say that with an ego attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me if I've noticed anything.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, that's what I've noticed. It's probably best that I didn't go to medical school because I probably wouldn't want me taking out their appendix either. I'm gonna take out your appendix now. No, you're not.
I don't know. The kids might prefer you. Yes, her. She sounds nicer.
But it has, I don't know. People and kids like my voice.
Yeah.
The
Mm-hmm.
microphone likes my voice. I don't know what the scientific nature of that is,
Mm-hmm.
but there
Mm-hmm.
must be some chemical or audio pleasantness that elicits something that makes people happy to hear it. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, but it certainly has done me well for booking cartoons and for singing to kids and
Mm-hmm.
having my songs be listened to by
Mm-hmm.
kids. And that's why I keep doing the kids' music. I like writing songs. I like singing to kids. I like kids' music. I mean, I like all kinds of music. Not all kinds, but that's the stuff that I'm focusing on primarily. I still have my adult band, which
Okay.
is still super fun for me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. Honey Pig.
Yes,
Yeah, Honey
yes.
Pig. Yeah, I watched some of the videos with that. Yeah, I was curious about that. I think that's so funny that you refer to it as grown-up music. That's very sweet. And I was wondering if that's something that you'd like to do more of if you had more time, or is it really a side project, or yeah, where does that
um,
fit in now?
well, I probably don't want to pursue it like touring the country,
Okay.
but we still rehearse. I mean, we've been through many iterations of Pigs because it's a three-part harmony, and
Uh-huh.
as it stands currently, me and the two other gals in the band, Brenna Larson and Stephanie Sutherland, their husbands, Andrew plays drums and Stephanie's husband plays mandolin and banjo, and my husband plays bass,
Oh, gee.
and Brenna plays ukulele, so I play guitar, so we have a
Mhm.
whole band,
Uh-huh.
and we like to do little gigs around town,
Hmm.
but it's still a lot of work, and we still rehearse uh, once every week or two, and we have group band rehearsals. So it's still a lot of time and energy that is spent with Honey Pig,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not my money maker,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
it's my joy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I'm certainly not going to stop that
Mm-hmm.
because when I hear those three-part harmonies,
Uh-huh.
I'm like, it makes me so happy.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. Yeah, hearing all three of you sing. Yeah, it's really lovely. Okay, let's switch to talk some more about kids and your relationship with kids. And particularly, do you have advice for people who are contemplating some sort of career that would involve children?
You mean entertaining to children? Or
Could be, or just working with children in general. I was curious what your thoughts were about that.
well, my connection with children is in creating the music, and I did tour and sing all over the United States for years to kids, and I got to see the good, the fun. Not that they're not good all the time, but the fun, lit up,
Hmm.
energized portion of how they interacted with the music.
Okay.
But it's a lot of energy, and for putting on a show, it's 20 to 35 minutes because that's the attention span. um,
Okay.
I think it's too much to ask a kid in the demographic I'm talking about, preschool, to give any more than that.
Hmm.
But for somebody that was full time in it, like an educator
Hmm.
or I guess it's just or a caretaker or something,
Yeah.
that is a lot of energy and patience and love and understanding because kids come from a whole different mindset than we do. When I'm writing songs for kids, I really try to come from how do they think about things and why is that interesting to them and what sorts of things are important to them. Repetition, I think, is important. I think getting important subject matter introduced in a way that creates a conversation or has them ask questions, as opposed to bombarding them with facts and figures and do this, do that.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm no expert on it. I've been doing it for a long time, and a lot of my songs have been met with some great successes
Hmm.
in the kids' music area. I think if somebody wants to do it, they should.
Hmm.
And if they feel forced into it, it is not the place they should be
Right.
at all. And I think once you become a parent, it changes everything. I know when I was doing auditions as a mom before I had a kid, it was foreign to me.
Hmm.
Now that I've had a kid and raised a kid, I feel like I get it.
Yeah.
I know how it hurts and the joy, how I feel. I know the tone, I know the frustration because I've lived it.
Hmm.
Not
Hmm.
because anybody taught it to me.
Hmm.
So I think if somebody does want to have a career interacting with kids, it has to be because they really love it.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. So tell us about Gotta Go Green. Where did it come
Yes!
from? The inspiration, what's on it, all that kind of stuff. What do you like about it?
Okay, so I'm going to take it out of its plastic wrapper, which I wish it wasn't. It's got to go green. It's got a plastic wrapper. This is the cover for it. It's my fourth children's CD,
Hmm.
and I did have my first one was "What a Way to Play," which was like all my oldest kids' songs that I loved, and then we went on to "Very Derryberry,"
Oh,
and then "Baby Banana," which contains all the Baby
yes.
Banana songs, and then there was about a 9 year break
Hmm.
before I started collecting more songs, and I realized that there was like a through line going through a recycle.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, I'm a great recycler. I thought, well, this climate right now lends itself to the tone of climate change and global warming, and how can I help make a difference with that? So I started writing more songs and reached out to some of my favorite songwriters and collabed with them
Oh,
on some songs, like my friend Michael Levine, who wrote, he's famous for writing the Kit Kat jingle.
okay.
Give me a break, that one.
Okay.
So he was actually a fiddle player in Honey Pig for a while. So we've
Okay.
known each other for a while, and I wrote a few of the songs on the album with him.
Mm.
And another voiceover friend of mine, her husband is an amazing producer, and I wrote a couple of song with. I wrote the title song, "Gotta Go Green" with him. But then I
Okay.
started, just focusing on these titles, and I thought I need a song about an electric car and about a can, recycling and the cycle of water molecules and Earth Day. So it just kind of all came together in this wonderful combination of global warming songs. And I thought "Earth Day's My Birthday" was going to be the title of the album because that's one of the songs on here is "Earth Day's My Birthday." And then I did sign with the publisher, APM, and my publisher, she heard Gotta Go Green and thought, well, that kind of sets the tone for the
Mm-hmm.
whole album.
Mm-hmm.
So we went with that, and I've had these three albums out prior to this with, I had a number one, Baby Banana was a number one hit, and I
Uh-huh.
had songs on the charts for a lot of them. And then I met so many people over the years. This art on the front was done by my friend who works on The Simpsons. He made Krusty Land, and so he drew this for
Oh,
me.
okay.
And
Uh-huh.
then,
It does look a little reminiscent of that. Yeah, it's
and then
true.
I won the NAPA
Mm-hmm.
National Parenting Products Award on it, which was
Uh-huh.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then my friend, I don't know if you know Ed Begley Jr., he's a big environmentalist and actor. He wrote me the endorsement.
Uh-huh.
And then I started this YouTube channel called Debi Derryberry Kids.
Oh.
And I've animated most of the songs on the album so kids could go to Debi Derryberry Kids and see the visual, since so many of us have different learning capabilities.
Uh-huh. Might
So
not want to just listen. Uh-huh.
yeah. So
Uh-huh.
my goal of Gotta Go Green is to get the kids started to think on how they can participate in saving our world. Little things they can do. What is a carbon footprint?
Mm-hmm.
What does recycling mean? What the next song I have coming out is just a single about compost, which is
Okay.
very exciting. I'm writing it with a fabulous songwriter performer named Lisa Loeb.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
she's
know. I
amazing.
remember her. Cake and Pie, right? Isn't that
Yeah, yeah,
her?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's going to be the next single. But this is important to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'll mention to my listeners, I think we're fortunate enough to have permission to include one of the songs, Earth Day is my birthday, at the end of the episode. So yes, that'll be very fun for them to hear that. And is one of them something, the title is sort of intriguing, like Don't Can the Can or
Yeah,
something like that?
don't can the can, man.
Oh, yeah.
That means don't put your can in the trash can.
Mm-hmm.
Do something else with it.
Mm-hmm.
Recycle your bottle, squish your can. Here's the things you can do with your can.
That's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good. So to go back to voiceover for a minute, it's interesting because I think we experience a lot of voiceover as a consumer,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure people know that much, a lot about the profession. But I was thinking there was that one movie that I saw, I think it's called In a World.
Yeah.
Did you see that? And what did you think?
Yeah. As with any Hollywood creation, you see what they show you. Yes, there are some political dynamics in the business, as there are in any business. And it is the life of an actor where it's up and down. Am I going to book it? Am I not going to book it?
Hmm.
These days, it's not that way.
Oh,
And in my world, it's more different kinds of jobs. It's not all commercial.
okay.
We don't always go into studios, very rarely now. I go in when there's dubbing to be done, but we all have home studios. I'm pointing to my studio.
Oh,
All the auditions are done here at home. Most of the recording is done here at home.
oh.
So it might give you a little idea on how
Mm.
the business works,
Hmm.
but I've never experienced anything like that movie.
Uh-huh. Yeah, as you're speaking, I'm remembering, I think she's competing with her father for voiceover roles or an older man,
Yeah.
something like that. But you're right, now that I recall it, a lot of it is about competition, I
And
think.
if that's the way you're looking at it, it's going to be harder.
Uh,
It's not. I mean, yeah, I have to do a lot of auditions to book one thing,
uh-huh.
and I am competing with a lot of people out there.
Mm-hmm.
But what people need to remember is that you have to enjoy the process
Mm-hmm.
because it is mostly the process.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, you'll get a job, but most of the time, you're working at getting the job.
Mm-hmm.
So you better like the journey
Uh-huh.
because that's 99% of it.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad you said that because that's true of so many things,
It is.
right? And
Yes, it
if
is.
you hate that part of it and you're just waiting for the payoff,
Get out. Get
yeah,
out.
it's going to be a tough road to hoe.
Yep.
And speaking of which, yeah, there's quite an amusing YouTube video of you demonstrating how to build an isolation Is that what
Yeah,
I should call
it's
it?
a
Yeah,
voiceover booth. It's actually a sound dampening booth. It's not a
that's it.
ISO booth per se.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds bad. Yeah, so it's a really nice video.
Thank you. Like if there's an airplane or a helicopter, you're gonna have to stop recording. If your dog's barking, the kid's crying, it's not a soundproof
Yeah,
booth. But if it's fairly quiet in your home, you can get a good recording done without it sounding roomy.
yeah. Hmm.
And I wanted all my students and I want my students who read my book and I coach to know that they can be in this business in an affordable way. I mean, it's not
Yeah.
cheap,
Hmm.
but for $250, you can create your own home booth.
Hmm.
And I wanted to give people tools.
No, you're very sharing with your expertise. Yeah, which is great. All right. I haven't done this question for a while, so my listeners will laugh, but I thought you would be the perfect person to ask this question of, and that is if you had a magic wand, what would you change about the world?
Oh boy, now I'm going to climb up on my soapbox. There are a few things I would do that I think would make this world a better place. One, I would make each ruler of each country a woman.
Oh, okay.
I just,
Ding.
I don't think they don't fight as much. They don't punch people as much. I would outlaw dogs that are purebreds,
Oh.
especially ones that have a reputation of attack.
Mm.
I would require all shelter dogs to be spayed or neutered, no matter if they're passing through or if they got rescued. Before they leave, they're spayed or neutered. Dog rescue is a big thing. I would outlaw palm oil, the
Oh.
production of. I would. This is my magic wand talking.
Yeah, right. Yes, this is a very busy magic wand. I love it.
I would make all gas cars gone and
Mm,
make them all electric cars and increase the infrastructure. I know it's simple to say. And yes,
sure.
I know lithium batteries and all that, but it's still crap going in the air. And that's a problem. I would stop all cows being produced in these huge factories and make all cows be free range, and then people would have to eat less meat. People eat way too much red meat. Same with chickens.
We'll throw some chickens in there too.
I'm not telling people not to eat meat and not eat chicken, but there's no reason to eat it every day. I think that'll do for now.
Right. Sounds like a
That's
pretty interesting world, right? After
it
your
would be
magic.
I would pay mandatory teachers would make twice as much as they do now. Educators would make twice as much. They would have to. Oh, and college would be free.
Wow. All right. That is by far the most complete answer that I've ever gotten to the magic wand
Thank
question.
you for asking.
Yeah. Tell me about the dogs. So, yeah, I noticed that also on your social media. Do you have dogs, and
I
why
do.
has this become why has this
I've
become a
have
thing?
two dogs now. They're rescues. I've been involved in animal rescue for 30 years, and
Okay.
it's so sad to me that we kill 85,000 dogs a year in the shelters. We kill them because there's no homes for them. Yet
Uh-huh.
people go out and buy a purebred dog as opposed to going and getting one from the shelter and saving that life.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a dog that's going to be healthier and live longer because it's a mixed breed. So
Uh-huh.
that doesn't make any sense to me. And
Uh-huh.
so when people say, "Look at my new beautiful dog," and it's a purebred, I'm like, that's a beautiful dog. But inside, I'm just going, ah!
Mm-hmm.
And I know people make their living breeding dogs, and some of them are legitimate and good. But this is how I feel about it. I don't like to see dogs in shelters put down, and cats. There's just not enough homes. So if you have a home for a dog or a cat, why not keep it from death's door?
Yeah, this is strange to me, actually, just from an economic standpoint. So, do people take dogs and then change their minds about them? Why do we have so many dogs in rescue shelters?
Oh, there's a number of reasons. That's one of them. People decide, oh, we want a dog, and they're just going to get ready to have a kid. Such the wrong thing to do. Because
Oh,
then the dog is no longer special, the kid is. And
uh-huh.
then the dog gets jealous and bites the kid, and all of a sudden it goes to the shelter. Of course it's
Oh,
going to go to the shelter.
I
Kids
see.
come first, family first.
Mm-hmm.
So think. I wish people
Uh-huh.
would think about this.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are married to someone who has allergy issues with cats, don't get a cat.
Mm-hmm.
Or, there's just a plethora of reasons why they end up in the shelter.
I
Maybe their
see.
owner dies.
Uh-huh.
Maybe they can't keep it in their apartment anymore. Maybe they got a job and they are gone 12 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's not always because it's the person's fault and they're not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Why are people homeless?
Mm-hmm.
How do people end up on the streets? That's another thing I would do. I would have a
The
lot
wand is
more
back.
mental institutions to help people with their mental situations so they could get off the streets. Thank you,
Yeah.
Magic Wand. So
Yeah.
there's no one answer to that dog question.
I
It's
see.
a very big picture.
Yeah, it's just interesting. There's so many of them to me, right? Yeah, that the circumstances have arisen that,
Hmm.
but yeah, maybe people like puppies, but then they don't like the dog when it's grown up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's puppies are adorable for 5 minutes. And they're
Uh-huh.
still adorable, but they're an enormous commitment. And people, they don't really see that. And then they're like, what?
Right.
They're
Yeah.
tearing up my socks and my shoes. Well, you left them alone. What do you expect them to do?
Yeah, that part's
I
definitely tough, right? So I've kept you for a long time. It's been lovely to talk to you. And before I let you go, is there anything you'd like to share with the audience?
Well, I would, anybody who wants to come see me at my conventions, I usually post it on my Instagram, which hopefully you will put. It's at Debi Derryberry. And my TikTok is at Debi Derryberry. And I would be ever so grateful if you would take your kids or grandkids or friends' kids and go to Debi Derryberry Kids, the YouTube channel. Not Debi Derryberry Regular, but Debi Derryberry Kids. And subscribe and watch the videos that go with all the songs on this new album, Gotta Go Green, that is available at all your digital streaming places, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, all those.
It's quite new, Gotta Go Green. I don't know if we
It is.
mentioned that. It just came out.
Just came out last month.
Yeah.
And it's you can download it off my website, which is debiderryberry.com. And yeah, if you interested in voiceover, you can go to my website, you can get my book off Amazon, contact me. But thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun, yapping and chatting.
Yeah, it's really been great to learn more about you. And again,
you.
congratulations for just a wonderful career and all the
Aw.
creative work you've put into the world. And yeah, you don't quite have a magic wand yet, but maybe soon. You never know.
Yeah, a little at a time, right? We do what we can do.
Exactly. All right. Thanks again, Debbie. It was really
Thank
great.
you. Bye.
Earth Day's my birthday. Do you know what I wanna do? Earth Day's my birthday today. I'm Teddy the tree and I'm tall, you see, so everybody looks up to me. I'll tell you what I wanna see on my birthday, my Earth Day.
thank you for listening. Our goal in 2024 is to expand our audience because we get such great guests. So we'd love your help in spreading the word by sharing, subscribing, liking, thumbs upping, rating, and commenting. Got all that? Really, thanks for any support. Books, Shows, Tunes, and Mad Acts is brought to you by Discreet Guide, the training company for improving your speaking and writing skills. Also, a shout out to Podomatic, our podcast hosting platform. You podcasters out there might want to check them out. They've been good to us. And finally, thanks to Quincas Morera for the theme music.